Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Hi, KHarris here. In for my final. What does literary citizenship mean to you? Well, being a part of a group of diversified writers of every genre that support one another with the sharing of information and even beta reading one another's work. To me, it means the give and take of information and time to one another. Time given to beta read and comment on their work and answer questions about writing in general, basically. Jane Friedman, in Are There Limits to Literary Citizenship, stated that it meant collaboration, not competition. And I agree. I think collaboration comes in every form, from publishing secrets, sharing those, to advice on every single element of writing. It's a joy to talk about writing with other writers, no matter what subject we're approaching about writing. How can I connect with the writing community? Question number 2. I think that finding writers in the same genre, joining their communities, their writing communities, whether it's online or in real time, in person. I think attending conferences and workshops with other writers. I'm going to meet a lot of people that way. Critique, definitely, and beta read their works. Write book reviews and write even to the authors words of encouragement about their books or about their articles that I read. And speaking of reading, I think I need to read books and journal articles, online and hard copies. Number 3, how will I leverage these connections to further my writing career? Well, I think I can do that in 3 ways. One is the quality of my work. The second is friendship. And the third is by connections. Social networking is key to more opportunities to publish. And the more people I know, the more knowledge and resources that will be available to me. Also, the comments made on my work from workshops or writing groups, it's going to make me a better writer, and I think it's going to expand my sphere of influence in the writing world. On to reading preferences. How do my reading preferences influence me? Well, I'm a big nature lover. I'm Native American, and I really appreciate the beauty of the earth and also seek to protect it. That's why Wendell Berry's writings are so inspiring to me. He just, whether he's writing about trees or farmland, he just really inspires something deep down inside of me to where I want to put pen to paper and I want to be outside when I'm doing it. Poems like I Go Among Trees by Wendell Berry, Jayber Crow, when he writes about this family that live on a farm, and even Wendell Berry's environmental activist writing. An example of that is The Unsettling of America. They all inspire me, and particularly the activist writing. It inspires me to champion a cause I care about and not just let someone else do that. Dystopian novels also inspire me, and I love reading them. Those such as The Hunger Games, Divergent, or The Giver, because I'm such a nature lover, I often think about what would happen if we continue to rape the earth the way we're doing now, and then it ends up being destroyed. Dystopian novels gives me an edge to write about this and what it's going to be like in a post-apocalyptic world. So they inspire me to write about nature and what would happen to the earth if we continue to rape it. Question number 5. What genre do you want to write in or have written in previously? Well, I've written nature articles before, and I've written poetry. I've even written a devotional book complete with beautiful landscape photography of different places, streams, mountains, fields of flowers. It's called Majesty, and which I enjoyed very much. I've also written some dystopian stories, and again, as I mentioned before, I enjoy creating a post-apocalyptic world. It's a challenging world to create because you have to create it from the bottom up, and I like incorporating the mystical characters within that story and trying to figure out how we would live if we were trying to survive a catastrophe with perhaps only a handful of people left. Number 6, how will exploring or being exposed to different genres influence my writing? Well, I think they're going to prevent me from being a boring writer, basically. I think it'll prevent me from producing bland, stale, or stagnant writing habits. If I read other genres of writing, my mental vocabulary is certainly going to increase, and I can incorporate that knowledge on paper and in my stories. I think I'm going to stretch my mind the way Natalie Goldberg said in her book, Writing Down the Bones. I'm going to stretch my mind so that I can expand my imagination. Knowledge of other genres will create something unique for the reader, something perhaps they haven't seen before, and it's definitely going to make me a better writer. Number 7, what writing habits would you like to develop? Well, the first one is I'd like to increase the time that I write every day. I'm only writing 15 minutes right now. I'd like to increase that by half at least to start with. I'd like to set some time for whimsical writing and to write whatever I feel like writing. I would like to practice writing with different genre styles: romance, horror, humor, maybe even some satire. I also want another writing habit I want to do is I want to try the funk writing or the junk writing Natalie Goldberg talks about. And that's where you just write about all the junk that's in your heart and mind. You just put it on paper. And I'll tell you why that's important maybe in the next questions. But I would also like to keep writing and not answer any emails or not answer the phone or especially the doorbell. So number 8, my plan to establish these habits is to turn off the phone and the volume off of my computer so I can't hear those email notifications. The next thing I want to do is place a large visual calendar on my desk, or at least in my office where I can see it from my desk, of a breakdown of the time for writing, what I'm going to do in the first 10 minutes or second 10 minutes, or to have some kind of format to guide me at first until it becomes more of a habit for me. I would also want to place a large visual to-do list in my office of all the ways I want to practice writing that I mentioned before, and the horror, humor, satire. Then I think, finally, I think it would be a good idea to start a blog to post some of my humor writing or dabbling into different genre experiences. Number 9, how will these habits help you be more creative or more productive? Well, I think increasing that time every day allows me the freedom to write something other than required assignments for school. Writing in other genres, I think, is going to increase my sphere of influence and knowledge and add an interesting element to anything I write. Writing the junk in my mind, as Natalie Goldberg suggests, I think it's going to lead to knowing myself better and writing truth, because she says that's what happens once you cleanse all that out of your system. Starting a blog, I think, is going to inspire me to post my work for others. I think that's very important, and especially to keep on practicing writing in those other genres that I mentioned. Increasing my writing time every day is going to help me to complete articles and stories that I can actually submit for publication. Next question. Number 10, workshopping. What are the advantages for my writing development of workshopping? Well, I think workshopping allows my work to be read and critiqued by a diverse set of writers, and they're going to be from every genre, and the comments that they give will be on every element imaginable of writing, anywhere from uh, my introduction, my setting, my storyline, my character development, whether or not my characters are believable, the backstory, the flow, the ending, every element. They know what makes a good story, and their help is going to be invaluable to me as a writer. And meanwhile, many new ideas are going to flow from this diverse set of writers that I might never have thought of before. So I could go on and on about how it will be helpful to me, how for my writing development. Number 11, what can you learn from workshopping others' work? Well, I think there's a variety of interesting styles of writing out there that I can read from other genres too, and that's going to enhance my writing abilities. As I see in their stories what I don't understand or what I have questions about, um, I can take that back to my own writing and say, well, what are these things that we're looking for that makes a story good? And I'll be able to apply that to my own writing. It'll help me to ensure that my own writing is not lacking in those areas, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think if I'm critiquing stories in another genre, it's going to force me to do a little bit of research about that genre. And I think that's going to enhance my sphere of influence and affect my writing positively as well. I need to remember that I'm representing the audience. As I read other writers' work, and every story or article I read prepares me to be a better writer, and it ensures my work is interesting and logical. So it can only be an asset to me. What part, number 12, do you foresee of workshopping playing in your professional writing career? Well, that's a twofold answer. In teaching, I can practice critiquing other writers' work and prepare myself for the best methods possible to offer my students in the future. That way I can help them be better writers. In professional writing, I think as I learn to receive tough critiques by fellow writers, it's going to prepare me for how editors are going to slice and dice my work, trying to get to the meat of the story and the characters. If I attend an actual workshopping opportunity in person, I think I might even be able to connect with other professional writers and gain valuable opinions from them. Another source of networking, essentially. Polishing comes from the collaboration, as I spoke of earlier, as a literary citizen, and it can only benefit my professional writing career. Number 13, which certification option interests you the most and why? The online teaching certificate, and of course the speculative genre fiction writing. I've always had a passion for teaching creative writing. I just want to be able to pull out of my students and help them to put pen to paper for whatever they're most passionate about. Some people think that not everyone can put pen to paper. It takes a special person. But I want to help students find that passion in their heart and help them to put it down on paper. I believe I can do that. And particularly if there's a cause that they might want to champion, I want to teach them not to be the one to read about that, but to be the one to actually write about it and champion the cause. Number 14, how will the business courses help you advance your career and give you an edge in the writing community? Well, for the writing community, the classes called The Business of Writing, along with another one called Finding and Reaching Your Target Audience, and then the third one is called The Publishing Ecosystem. I think they're all going to enhance my chances of publication and give me the knowledge I need to forge ahead for publication. I think there's so much I don't know that these classes are going to prepare me for, and maybe it'll set me at ease a little bit and I won't be in an unknown world. I think this will prepare me for the business world. I'm sure there are tricks out there that I know nothing about, with blogs and posts, things that I can learn about the internet that will help get my work where it needs to be. As for the other aspect, this is really a twofold answer I'm giving. First for the writing community and then for teaching. These business courses are going to help me aid my students for the very same reasons. They're going to want to familiarize themselves as well with the multifaceted publishing ecosystem, and that'll prepare me to help them. Finally, number 15. What are some professional options available to you as a writer? Which of these interests you the most and why? Well, my professional options are teaching and writing to publish. What I want to write is speculative fiction, and there's also other areas of interest. I love writing in nature as well, but I'd like to publish articles, books, and stories, particularly in the speculative dystopian genre. There's also something called a content writer that interests me to make extra money, because you see them in the role of researcher, editor, SEO expert, designer, and they can act in corporate and small businesses as an ally. I just think that could be a way to make a little extra money on the side. What interests me the most, of course, is the nature writing and the speculative fiction. Nature is near and dear to my heart, and I just want to make everyone else enjoy and appreciate it as much as I do, particularly to help protect it. And I can't make them worship it as I do, but I can certainly help them appreciate it in my writing. As far as the speculative fiction, I just want to inspire and challenge others to think about the post-apocalyptic world if we destroy the earth. And that's pretty much it for my final. Thank you for this class. I have enjoyed it thoroughly, and I appreciate your teaching and leadership qualities. Take care.